All right, let's do it. Welcome into Golden State Warriors today. Chase Sr. here with you. No matter where you are, how you're tuned in, we appreciate you for making Warriors today a part of your day. I understand there are so many content options out there on YouTube for you to come out and hang out with us. We, of course, appreciate that. Could more moves be coming for the Golden State Warriors? And could Mike Dunleavy Jr. look to improve this team through the trade market, either prior to the season or up until the NBA trade deadline? We're going to take a look at some trade ideas for Golden State following the peak of NBA free agency, but some potential trade targets who the Dubs could look to bring in at the NBA trade deadline come February. First, though, talk about you coming over here and being a part of the show. We just want to say thank you to all of Dub Nation for supporting the program here. We just surpassed 59,000 subscribers, and if you're looking for year-round Warriors talk that is informative, insightful, and entertaining, this is your go-to spot. Join the Warriors Today community right now. So a glance at this Warriors roster to really set the foundation here that propels us to some of these other talking points. The Warriors currently have 13 players under guaranteed contracts for the 2023-2024 season. So that means that the Warriors have two full-time roster positions open. And I think that when I look at this team that last year was 44-38, they were bad defensively, especially on the road when they really couldn't defend anybody. The big weakness still, even after the signing of Dario Saric, is the lack of size in that front court. You have Kevon Looney, Dario Saric, both 6'9", Trace Jackson-Davis, who you drafted at the end of the second round, isn't the tallest guy. You have Draymond Green, who's capable of playing the 5, but he's better suited to play that 4. So I still think that the Warriors might need to bring in a center at some point. And this first trade from Bleacher Report, and a trade idea that Bleacher Report put together, would help the Golden State Warriors fortify that front court. And they also were able to bring in a very good shooter in Quentin Grimes. So Quentin Grimes, Mitchell Robinson from New York to San Francisco. And then the Knicks receive Kevon Looney, Jonathan Kuminga, Brandon Podziemski, and Cory Joseph. Now this would be a home run type of trade for Golden State. It would be a loss for the New York Knicks. And what this would accomplish for the Dubs, you get that size in Mitchell Robinson, and you get that secondary shooting of Quentin Grimes, who honestly, with what I've seen so far from him throughout his NBA career, is like a baby version of Klay Thompson. Solid and willing defender, and a guy who can really shoot from beyond the arc. Again, I'm not comparing him to Klay, but the elements of his game somewhat similar, because you look at what he did last year, 71 games played, almost 30 minutes per night. 11 points per game, almost 39% from 3, and almost 47% from the field. But then you look at his numbers in 2023 with 10-plus field goal attempts. What that means is 10-plus shots taken, the numbers increase to up to almost 18 points per game. 8.5 three-point attempts per night, and even with those 8.5 three-point attempts per game, he still knocked down about 41% of those shots from downtown and a total of 213 attempts, 87 makes. So those numbers right there, very reminiscent of what Klay Thompson has been able to do throughout his NBA career, and maybe Quentin Grimes could be the future Klay Thompson replacement if he were to move on after this year, as he is entering the final year of his contract. So that's the Grimes component of this trade from Bleacher Report. How about the Mitchell Robinson part of this? Very good rim protector, very good rebounder, not a big who's going to shoot the rock from the outside, but you have that in Dario Saric, and you haven't had that with Kevon Looney. So you're not losing much in losing Looney other than him being a glue guy. And as a strictly alone player, I think that Mitchell Robinson is a better player than Kevon Looney. Last year with the Knicks, 27 minutes per game, 59 games total, 7.5 points per game, 9.5 rebounds. He can get close to a double-double, almost 2 blocks, almost a steal per night, 67% from the field. His playoff numbers did go down a bit, but as the game slowed down, the Knicks' offensive scoring output, it was more relied upon for Jalen Brunson to put the ball in the hoop, R.J. Barrett, and some other players on that roster like a Julius Randle. So 6.5, 9+, still pretty damn good, and the Warriors would take that at that 5 spot. The block number is still there, and the field goal percentage still pretty solid. So this is the trade once again, and we have a couple of more trades to discuss here on the show today. Would you do it? T for trade or P for pass, as the Warriors get Quentin Grimes, Mitchell Robinson, Knicks get Kevon, Looney, Jonathan Kuminga, Brandon Podziemski, as well as Cory Joseph. Bleacher Report trade number 2. The Dubs get a player who I really like in OG Anunoby, a very good two-way wing whose offensive game has definitely grown, but his defensive arsenal is very impressive. The Raptors then receive Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, Gary Payton II, and a 2028 first-round pick. More thoughts on that here in just a moment, but first, we want to offer up a great deal, thanks to our friends at Fanatics, this Warriors t-shirt combo where you get both of these shirts for basically the price of one. Chatsports.com/Dubs combo. We'll put that link in the comments section and in the description of this video. What that OG Anunoby trade does accomplish, he is a very good two-way wing who I don't really think takes too many opportunities away offensively from some of the marquee players who you have on this team, although he does have a similar game to Andrew Wiggins, but might be a better offensive player than Andrew Wiggins, and right now is a little bit cheaper after Andrew Wiggins signed that extension last offseason. This past year for OG Anunoby, almost 17 points per game, 47.5% from the field. He is a capable three-point shooter. Really what the story about him is how much that he's been able to develop over time, because his development has been hella impressive as a guy who was extremely raw, athletic, long, but couldn't really handle the basketball, couldn't really shoot, could defend at a pretty high level, but he has been a part of that Toronto Raptors player development program, and he has reaped the benefits of that. So what do you think of OG Anunoby as the player? We're hearing from you once again down in the comments section. Treat it like a Sports Talk Radio call-in line. Get on that NBA 2K scale of 1 to 100. And if you want to interact with me on social media, feel free to do so. My boy Cade, who always watches the show, he's always in the Instagram DMs, and we're always chopping it up, talking Warriors basketball. Be like Cade, at Chase_Senior here on both social media platforms. Last trade that I want to talk about for this segment is another trade with the Toronto Raptors, where the Warriors get Pascal Siakam, the Raptors get Chris Paul, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and a 2030 first-round pick. Now, with some of these players here that we've been talking about today, they can't be traded until January because either they've signed contracts, or some players who do sign contracts or are new acquisitions cannot be dealt until then. So this might be like a deadline type of deal where the Dubs bring in a player like Pascal Siakam if the Chris Paul experiment doesn't work. Now, it would hurt to lose Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody, as well as that 2030 first-round pick, and Siakam is on an expiring contract. But I'll tell you this about Siakam. He's a two-way pest. He has really long arms. He can defend multiple positions. The three-point shot has gone down and dipped over the last few years, but he can kind of get to that mid-range area. Scoring the ball has a bit of problem. He has that long step that allows him to beat opponents off the dribble, and he's difficult to defend because of that, and difficult to block his shot because of that high release point. His numbers over the last 4 years have remained pretty consistent, and him and OG Anunoby, just two players that the Toronto Raptors have been able to develop into really, really good players, and Pascal Siakam is a guy who can really accomplish a lot on the floor. So let's round out with this. Which trade would you do here? 1, 2, or 3? Voice what you think down in the comments section. We appreciate you for watching. And don't forget to subscribe for year-round Warriors talk.